Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to In the Now. So we are week, I think like 4, and I think finally, I was just saying to Dave this morning, finally I think I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable to present things to you that I think are relevant, obviously, not only to me, but to you in the community. I want to thank everybody. I'm going to start by saying this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all of the comments that I receive. I've received so many comments. I've asked questions. I said, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear about right now with this topic? And obviously what's happening right now in the news, trying to avoid obviously the negative and some of the other bullshit. Yeah, I said it. That's going on out there. So I've been getting a lot of feedback and I really appreciate it. And I promise you, I've written every single thing down, and anyone who has ever admitted something to me or brought me something, it is going to be discussed. I'm going to find the best way to get all this information to you. So again, welcome to In the Now, and let's get right into it. So I don't know if anyone's seeing what's happening outside. So I woke up with a little bit of a headache this morning, and Grant, the owner, woke up with a little bit of a headache, and Dave woke. Do you have a headache too, Jordan? Okay, Jordan, obviously the engineer is great. Oh, hold on. I have to big up my team. So yes, behind the scenes, you guys don't see them, but Jordan, my engineer, and Dave, I guess my assistant. Is that what you are, Dave? I'm calling you an assistant, but is that the wrong name? What should I call you? I'm your helpmate. My helpmate. He's helped me making sure that he answers any questions if anything comes up on YouTube. So again, please feel free to comment. If you want to say anything, Dave will get back to you. Remember, we are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on Periscope. I usually am on Instagram Live, but I don't have my phone because I'm not prepared. I'm being honest, but it doesn't matter. So outside's horrible, guys. That's why many of you are feeling the headache thing that you're feeling. It is raining right now, and it was actually really warm last night, but that is supposed to flip. And of course, when you think about that, this time of year, you're like, I'd want to be anywhere but here. By the way, big up to Alyssa, who's in Jamaica right now. I am very jealous, okay, that you are taking in some really nice sun. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring some sun to you, Toronto, right now, to the community. I want you guys to see what's happening. And I'm very proud that one of our islands in the West Indies was actually voted one of the top 22 places to go. You're going to be surprised on what they say about it. So let's talk about Bloomberg Pursuits. Bloomberg is actually owned by Mike Bloomberg, and they take care of high-tech, market-moving, data-driven, cross-platform information, anything that has to do with news, obviously, but they get it in larger folds. Obviously, they're a bigger company, so they get a lot of the information about what's going on. They have a lot of travelers. They have a lot of bloggers. They have people taking care of this information. So Bloomberg, Business Week talks about the fact that there are plenty of cities that are always worth a visit, okay? But which destinations are in the midst of that like evolution, that change? Who's actually doing something? Where do you want to go where it's not just going to be the same old, you get on the tour, you get on a bus, you drive around. Okay, great. Of course, if you haven't been there, it's still good, but what's happening? So he scoured the earth. Well, not him, but his team. They scoured the globe, and they're looking for the most exciting openings and events in 2018. So they boiled them down to 22 places, and to make sure you can plan your trip for the right time of year. So they do everything for you, which is actually pretty interesting. You should go to, what is the website? Sorry, it's www.bloomberg.com. And they actually do everything for you. They do the pricing, they do insights from Google, and they actually have seasonal recommendations. So this is actually, if you're planning a trip, if you have some trip time coming up, especially January, February, March, where it's really nasty here in Toronto and in Canada, there are some options that you can actually look at. And of course, they have all those other travel blogs, but at least with Bloomberg, this is like pretty good information. Good. So one thing they did note with traveling, the cheapest and most expensive times to go are rarely the best and the worst. You've got to just kind of plan your vacation days. Like what you may think is actually a good time to go may not be. So it's important to do your research when you are traveling, okay? It's very, very important. It doesn't matter when and how. Always do your research. You have to take in consideration storm times, even though right now there's no storms, there's no tornadoes or anything like that happening. It's a pretty cool time of year to go. Plus, again, it's freezing here in Canada. So I'm going to put on the video of the island that was voted one of the top 22 places to go. And again, I'm very, very proud. I'm not going to see the name. I'm just going to show the island first.
Around the island's really easy. If you go on an organised tour, you'll be in a bus no bigger than this. You can of course have a taxi driver, or I think St Kitts is a place to hire your own car, drive around and explore it for yourself. A straight drive around the coastline would only take a couple of hours, but there are plenty of distractions along the way. One of the most famous is the magnificent Brimstone Hill Fortress, the only man-made UNESCO World Heritage Site in the Eastern Caribbean. The fort dates back to 1690 and is a monument to the ingenuity of the British engineers who designed it, as well as the skill and endurance of the African slaves who built and maintained it. I'm no historian.
Jordan's clowning. Why are you clowning the British woman? Like, she's just trying to be, she speaks the Queen's English. She's very happy. So anyway, St. Kitts, big up yourself. Anyone from St. Kitts, you guys, your island was voted one of the top 22 in the world to travel to. I'm so proud of you guys. So big up yourself, St. Kitts. That video with the beautifully spoken English woman is found St. Kitts Bloomberg, and there's actually a picture that's really beautiful. Jordan will throw it for me. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, I could look at that, guys. Doesn't that look better than outside? Okay, look here, and then go look outside your window. And then come back and look at this, and then go back and look outside your window, and think about it. Maybe I should be planning a trip? So, let's talk about St. Kitts a little bit, okay? So, they survived last year's hurricanes, and the destination got a considerable injection of glitz when the 126-room Park Hyatt opened in November. So, they just have a new hotel that opened as well. It's a 5-star. They have a 5-star beach resort. It's located on a secluded white sand cove near the island's southern tip. Suites with private pools overlooking the Caribbean Sea, the neighboring island of Nevis, while the 3-bedroom presidential villa, which, wow. I'm going to get there one day, though. Trust me. Right, Dave? Presidential villa, St. Kitts. You actually, in their presidential villas, they get, like, private chefs and stuff. So, St. Kitts, man, you guys are taking it there. A different, like, level of bougie. So, in terms of convenience, Delta has actually begun offering nonstop routes from Atlanta and New York, and obviously here from Canada, making St. Kitts more accessible than many of its Caribbean peers. So, listen, some of the other islands, you guys need to step it up a little bit. I want us to start supporting our island because you have to understand tourism is huge in the islands. Like, when tourists come in, this is how a lot of locals make their money too, whether it's through crafts or through the market. So it doesn't matter where you go in the Caribbean, just support. Please go travel, spend your money with the locals, not necessarily the big time shops down there, and give back to the communities even in the islands, okay? So there's another small video that I'm going to put on with the British accent lady that Jordan likes very much.
The true story, and it is so beautiful to know so many history about our beautiful island.
St. Kitts history adds an extra dimension to a holiday here, but there are lots of other things to see and do.
So again, look outside your window, go back and play this video, and then look back outside your window and make some decisions. Now is the time. Get out, get out, get out. Okay? You don't need a spoon in a glass. Get too far? Okay. All right. So when to visit St. Kitts? There's actually a graph that I'm going to have there for you while I'm going through the details. So they say when to go. May is when you'll find the best deals. Okay, and fewer crowds. So this is in May. Or 6 weeks in November and December, okay? That are booked end by hurricane season and holiday madness. So best times to go May and in November and December. When not to go. Of course, I don't know if anyone was around, but if you heard about 2017 in the islands, it was horrific, disastrous, horrible. So never book anything in the months from June to October. That's the hurricane season, so not a good time to go down there, okay? So yeah, beautiful graph. Thank you very much. So there are some other places on the list that I'm going to put up as well. that were included on that top 22 list. And they include Salvador, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, Namibia, Florence, I probably said that wrong, Florence, Los Angeles, Fiji, South Korea, Washington, New Orleans, Southern Tanzania. So again, this is the time. Get out of here. There's some places for you guys to go to. I hope that's been relevant information for you. And I'm going to, thank you for putting up that list for me, Jordan. And I'm going to be coming back actually with a community guest. This is not something that we normally do, but with Black History Month coming up, obviously that's very much in the now. She'll be coming up to talk to us about an event that's coming up in the month of, actually next week or this weekend. So see you guys soon.
What if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity?
This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by
Welcome back, everybody. So again, like I was saying, I don't usually have a guest on the In the Now, but this is, of course, a very special situation. So I have a lady with me. I'm going to have her introduce herself to you guys today. And what she's here for, actually, I'm going to have Jordan throw up for me. We're going to keep putting this information up. This flyer can be found on my Facebook page. And when Pauline introduces herself, she can tell you a little bit more. So, Miss Pauline, welcome to In the Now.
Well, thank you for having me.
You look absolutely lovely with the red. You match my little background here, and kind of me, I guess. A little tiny bit.
Sisters always match.
Which we're trying, right? We're doing something here. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I would like for you to, first of all, introduce yourself to the In the Now viewers and let them know why you're here today.
Well, I'm Pauline Christian, and the immediate president of the past president of the BBPA, Black Business and Professional Association, and I've been there for years, as everybody knows.
Beautiful.
And now I've kind of transitioned out, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I am the CEO president of Best Lifestyle Residence, and we have nursing homes up north in Barrie, Aurelia, and Coldwater.
Okay.
And it's a family-run business. Outside of that, I am very big on community, and so I spend most of my active life on community. So really charity, right? I don't really charge for my service.
Yeah,
I think God has blessed me with a business. And before that, I was associate director at Bell Canada for umpteen years. But if I tell you, I'm going to age myself. Shh. And that went really well. I've learned a lot from it, and I was able to transition some of those business acumen and great learnings into your own business.
It's wonderful.
I was a teacher originally. Then I came here, went to York, and I did business and minored in politics and psychology, and then I move on to do my master's in project management. So I'm big on organizing. Now I'm here because I want to talk about the Martin Luther King event that is coming up, and it's 19 years old.
Okay.
And I've been the creator. It's my brainchild, and so right now I'm still the executive producer, but I work with a team of people from different organizations. The BBPA is one of the collaborators, as well as Education Foundation for Children's Care Canada, that I'm also the president of.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And we focus on education in Canada, as well as we sponsor a home in Jamaica, and we take care of abused kids, disadvantaged kids, and orphaned kids.
Okay.
Right? And so I go down there frequently and, work, and we work with different other different institutions and organizations in Jamaica as well, and in Miami, right, for this project. I'm big on I work a lot in my church. I'm focused on education because I believe that education is one of the most important channels through which African-based people can become successful.
Absolutely.
So people may think that I do not focus on the marches and all those things, but I think that we have had so much and we have been so blessed. So let's take the blessings that we have been blessed with over the years and push for the things that we want, instead of saying, the blank kept me back.
Girl, listen.
We have enough in our community, but we just need to collaborate.
Yes.
And, we need that. We need a united force. Right?
True, very
true. We need to take that energy and passion from Martin Luther King, and it doesn't have to be rambunctious, boisterous.
No.
It can be, and there's a time for that at
Absolutely.
times, right? But I think we need the collaboration of the different spirits and different skill sets and the different strategies as to how we're going to overcome, right?
Very
but we
well
have
spoken,
enough money, we have enough talent, we have enough, outside of the box thinking to get us across that bridge. And I think we need to step up as a people and get it done. And stop making excuses because they prevented us from doing it. No, nobody prevents me from doing anything. Who told me that a 19-year-old kid could come here from Jamaica with $50 in her pocket and,
look at everything you've done. Look at everything you've done. That's very, very powerful. I love it. I love it.
And it's out of being bold and courageous and,
being you. Being who you are.
Let's leave that black.
Don't listen. This is the one thing about this show and this station is that we are given that platform to say exactly what we want to say, and that's what I love. And the fact that you are doing this much, it's a beautiful thing, commendable. You're saying 19, and you're looking at age, and I'm trying to figure out how old you are because your skin looks really good.
I'm big on health.
Okay.
And that's why when nobody owes when I don't have to go to work for somebody, they don't dictate to me how I lead my life. So for me, health is very much important. And in my teaching years, I majored in physical education and social sciences, right?
Okay.
So I've been always fit.
Active.
So you never, I go to the gym 2 hours a day. And Fridays, because I have to be here, then I have to cut my Friday. But Fridays, I have 4 to 5 hours. And I do. I think that as a people, we got to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm not easily breakable. Nothing's going to break me. I'm going to break it. Nothing's going to break me.
Because you've already gotten yourself there.
Nothing breaks me.
Good for you.
Because I'm confident. Because we were given the power and the strength, and I claim it. Every day I get up is a great day.
You've put all this passion. I'm sure a lot of this is going to be seen at this event. I'm sure you've already put up the flyer, right, Jordan? Thank you. He's been putting it up. I pulled it off for you. So yeah, there it is again. So we've been putting it up so people can see this. Tell us this is 19 years strong.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you've been doing this from the very beginning.
Yeah, my brainchild. Yeah.
Talk to us about this brainchild.
Now, as you know, I'm very passionate about our community, and I think that we can use different initiatives. And I believe in our pioneers, and that everything doesn't have to be a makeover. It could be augmenting it. It could be enhancing it, right? It could be heightening awareness of it. It could be bringing consciousness to it, right?
Absolutely.
And so I was and being a social science student, I was always fascinated with the work of Martin Luther King. And being a Christian too, I don't believe in that everything has to be killing or, I think that there are subtle fights that we have to do, but I always believe in how can we end up with a win-win where we can heighten the awareness so people come to that realization that we're all one human family, right? And so we don't have to divide because of the skin color, because the skin color is diversity, and that's what builds our strength. It's because we're diverse. Trust me, if everybody was black in the world, I would be very bored.
It's true. It would be a boring place.
So I love differences. I love uniqueness.
Yes.
And so we don't have to use uniqueness and differences and make it
a bad thing.
Yeah, a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, that one is higher than the other, one is lower than. We don't have to do that.
Yes.
So I'm saying that I like the message of Martin Luther King, whereby we are one big happy family. I want my children, black children, to be able to play with white children and Indian children and Chinese children and have the same opportunities as they do and make this world a better place. Because if I have a criminal over there and and Mr. Tory and those Mitzi and different people in government who I know they have a cause for black people, sometimes it's misconstrued or whatever, but for me, it's to bring them together and say, because they will be all there, right? We're going to have the chief of police, we're going to have Mr. Tory, we're going to have Mitzi, we're going to have Mr. Couture. We'll be talking about, the black initiative that he's doing, which is good, $47 million. Tell us what piece of it is for us to move our children from where they are out of a place of poverty into prosperity. Like show us how we can do that together, right? So I believe in the coming together of the forces. Not dividing it, because if divided it, I don't want to spend my energy to and focus on things that will divide us. Because I believe that my words, everything I think, I can bring to reality.
Absolutely.
Because it's so forceful. Because you know why? Because I don't spend my time on negative things. So because the world was formed, and I'm very spiritual, through the spitting out of the words, that means that if I focus on positive things, the power of my words, when I speak things, I'll speak things into being.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So why don't I speak things into being in collaborating the forces so we can move black people where they need to be? And, provide that kind of realization that our people have been seeking for many years. Why can't we chip at it bit by bit? By bringing the forces together.
This is what I'm going to say, and I know the good thing about the show, I think things happen very in the moment here. So what I'm going to say is, we only have 10 minutes with Christina today. We're bringing you back in on my other show, okay? It's called Here to Help You. It's on Tuesdays at 5. Dave is going to talk to you about it after, but I really think now hearing this conversation, this was more just for the event that, again, if Jordan put back up that poster, it's going to be on my Facebook page as well, so you can go there to check this out. We're going to have you back in and have a 40-minute conversation. I think that's a little... Because we need to talk, girl. I'm sitting here like... I really want to say something. I want to talk to her, but we just don't got the time. So I want to say, sister, thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. Dave, take care of this. We're going to be right back, everybody. Dave, we'll be right back, okay? In the now.
We are doing this event for the community.
But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity?
This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
So I don't know if you guys were just here for that. So today we did something a little bit unconventional, but the one thing about this show, which I like, is everything does kind of happen really quickly and in the now and in the moment. And that's the whole point of this show, is to keep people in the moment with what's going on. So I had a sister come in here right now, and it was Sister Pauline Christian. I don't know why I called her Christina. I think I thought the Christian part. But anyway, so Pauline Christian just came in here, and she was talking about the event, the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, which is happening on Saturday, January 13th at 6:30 p.m. And McVetti Center, this is 50 Gervais Drive, Toronto, Ontario. So they're going to have international recording artist Anthony Brown there, as well as the dynamic speaker, David Richardson Jr., and it's hosted by Carrie Lee Crawford, okay? Tickets are $20 in advance, $30 at the door. Her and I got into a conversation, and at the end, you guys heard me invited to the show because that was just very powerful. And I love these type of things that happen in the moment. She was just like, we were supposed to be talking about this event. We didn't even get a chance to. It don't matter, though. This is how things go. So let's move on. Jordan, we ready for the next piece? All right. So before I go any further, I want to thank, I have a lot of really good people around me. I have a very strong team that helps things move flawlessly and sometimes not so flawlessly, but they're there to help me. Dwayne Daly, he is my research guy right now. I have two people who do my research, and he's my primary research person. And he has been giving me all this really good information, as well as, I don't know if anyone was able to watch the show on Tuesday. We had Perlette Cassell in, and she brought me a piece that I thought I should bring to you guys. It's about Solange Knowles, and it's a little bit off. Again, we're doing things a little bit different this week, but Solange had a health scare not too long ago, and I'm going to play a quick video, and then we're going to talk about it and the importance of it and why I'm even talking about it today.
Solange reveals she has an autonomic disorder and cancels her New Year's Eve performance. The singer takes to Instagram to get personal with fans about her health. She writes, "It's so important to me for the people in South Africa, a place that has tremendous meaning to me and that has given me so much, to know why I won't be performing at Afropunk this New Year's Eve. The past 5 months, I have been quietly treating and working through an autonomic disorder. It's been a journey that hasn't been easy on me. Sometimes I feel cool and other times not so cool at all. As a part of the self-care that I've tried to encourage this past year, it needs to start with myself. And I'm looking forward to doing a better job of this 2018. Solange goes on to say she will be back in South Africa to perform.
So it's obviously, when you hear things like this, it's very, very scary. And I think what was a little bit scary for me was there was a piece written, and it's by Olivia Jade at xonicole.com. And she wrote about Solange's health scare is a reminder to all of us to check in on that strong friend. And what kind of struck me with that was the fact that I've always been known to be a little bit of a stronger person. A lot of my friends do say that I'm very, very strong. And it's very true. Sometimes those strong people are the ones who are really suffering in silence. And she talks about that in this article that she wrote. Solange's health scare is a reminder to all of us to check in on that strong friend. So in that recent, there's a very recent Instagram post. This just happened, I think, end of December, and we just saw that in the video, that Solange had to cancel her appearance at Afropunk in Africa. And this quote is from her. It's because she's dealing with something called an autonomic disorder, which I'm going to actually give you guys some details about, because this is something that you do find in the African community quite often, and sometimes, and obviously in other cultures as well, but this is something that we do see a lot. And the fact that it's affecting her at such a young age, because she's only in her 30s. So a lot of us think that we cannot feel certain things or we can't get sick because we're young. And that is not true. I want you to get that out your mind. You've got to pay close attention to your health. If you were watching Tuesday with Pauline Cassell, or Perlette Cassell, I'm getting all the names confused now. Her book, So What Does That Mean, Doctor? It is something, I've actually gone through it, and this book is fantastic. It's something that I'm going to start utilizing, and I keep it on me now. So this is just in my purse. So when I go to my doctor's visits, I'm aware of what's happening to me. So quick quote from Solange. "The past 5 months, I've been quietly treating and working through an autonomic disorder. It has been a journey that hasn't been easy for me. Sometimes I feel cool, and other times not so cool at all. It's a complicated diagnosis, and I'm still learning so much about myself right now. My doctors are not clearing me for such an extended, lengthy flight and doing any type of rigorous show. So what is ANS? So I actually have some slides here for you just so that you have the information. So again, if you have a piece of paper as you're watching this, or if you're just watching it and you're not able to do it, you can go back and visit some of this stuff a little bit later, because it is important to know what's happening with you, okay? So this information is from Healthline medically reviewed article by Dr. Judith Moran, and it's about the autonomic nervous system disorder. So my very first picture, Jordan, is the breakdown of what PANS and SANS, that's what they're called, but PANS stands for parasympathetic autonomic nervous system, and SANS stands for sympathetic autonomic nervous system. So let's start with PANS. Thank you. So PANS, that's PANS, right? 'Cause my eyes are horrible. Thank you. So with PANS, what happens is that usually that part of your body, the system, it usually stimulates your organs. It increases your heart rate and your blood pressure, and it slows down your digestion and your urinary system. Okay, so very, very important part of your body, okay, and your system and your nervous system. Now, sorry, that was a sympathetic, and this is parasympathetic that's up there. Thanks, Jordan. So let me do parasympathetic first. I'm sorry. Slows down your bodily processes, reduces heart rate and blood pressure, and stimulates digestion and your urinary system. So the opposite now, the sympathetic, is what I just said earlier. So it stimulates your organs, it increases your heart rate and your blood pressure. Thank you. And it slows down your digestion and your urinary system. So you can understand how if there's any type of disorder happening here, because this is your fight and flight system that's at work here. So there's a lot of things that are happening. So if there's some type of disorder here, you're going to definitely feel it, and it's going to affect your life, and which is probably why she had to kind of pull out of this concert. So the main responsibility of the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, and there's actually a picture there that I'm going to show you. It's a flow picture that shows the brain and the parasympathetic and the sympathetic autonomic nervous system and how it looks. You can leave that up there just for a little bit, Jordan, for me. So the main responsibility of the sympathetic autonomic nervous system is to trigger emergency responses. So that fight or flight response. And that helps you respond to stressful situations. The parasympathetic autonomic nervous system, PANS, conserves your energy and restores tissues back to ordinary function after you've done that fight or flight. So it's like where you see the car and you jump because the car's racing at you. So that's your sympathetic autonomic nervous system, that fight or flight. And the parasympathetic is what calms everything down after your blood pressure has gone up because you're scared, right? So an autonomic dysfunction develops when the nerves of the ANS are damaged. And this can range from very mild to life-threatening. And some of the outcomes which are scary, and again, because the diabetes and Parkinson's disease are examples of chronic conditions that lead to autonomic dysfunction. So diabetes, if you suffer from diabetes, it would be very important for you to be aware of what can happen and start paying attention to some of the symptoms. So let me give you those before we come out of this section. The symptoms include, and I do have a slide for you, so again, you can write this down. It includes sweating abnormalities, digestive difficulties, so this can include loss of appetite, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, difficulty swallowing. There's also urinary problems. So if you're bleeding, or not bleeding, but if you're peeing, or if you see blood in your pee, obviously instant problem. But if you're peeing a lot, or you feel like you can't pee, like one of those bladder infections, something else you could probably look into. Sexual problems. So for men, you might have problems, difficulty ejaculating, and for women, you might suffer from excessive vaginal dryness. So something to be aware of, even in your 30s. And vision problems. Okay, so these are things to look into. Some of the treatments for it, I'm going to go over quickly. There's another slide here for you. It includes elevating your head of your bed, drinking enough fluids, adding salt to your diet. I was excited about that one. But again, you have to be mindful with the salt, not too much. For women, you can wear compression stockings to prevent blood pooling in your legs. And just changing your position slowly, because what can tend to happen is there's a lot of dizziness that happens with this. So for the strong friends in the group, I have a question for everyone. I want to say this. You know that person who seems really, really strong? check in on your friends. It's very, very important that you check in on people. It doesn't matter how strong they are, because someone like Solange, after we saw her kick up Jay-Z in the elevator, you think that this girl is like on top of the world, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she has her things in order, but clearly she did not. It was affecting her. So everyone, I will see you guys in the next segment, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's happening here in Ontario with employment. That's important.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back, everybody. And as you guys know, if you've been watching from the beginning, today was a little bit of a format change. The first few shows were very much, giving us a background on media and why people and how the media controls you and how what's happening to us when we're watching the news. So going forward, I'm going to be taking news from the community and delivering it to you on what's important, what people out there think is important. So this is not coming from my own selfish views. This is coming directly from you. Okay, so it's been a great show. We've talked travel. Very first segment, if you want to take a look, we did travel and found out that St. Kitts is one of the top 22 places to go in the world. That's a wonderful thing. So big up to all you St. Kittians. Did I say it wrong? I did it. I don't know. Anyhow, big up to you guys. Our second section, we spoke with Pauline Christian, and very powerful woman, and she was talking about her event, the Martin Luther King Jr. event, happening on the 13th. And the third, we spoke about health a little bit, just reviewing my past guests, some information she gave to me, talking about how you need to kind of like take some time to look out for that strong friend. We talked about Solange Knowles and some of the health issues that she's having. And now I'm going to bring some information. This is more directed to people living here in Ontario. Please, it's very important that you pay attention to a lot of the things I'm going to say right now, because it affects everybody. If you are either an employer or an employee, you need to hear this, okay? So I'm going to have Jordan put up the references of where I got this information from, because it's important that you guys know the information for yourself. Do not take anyone's word for anything. When you get information, research it yourself. I'll always provide you with the research information. So let's start off with some of the changes in the Employment Standards Act as of 2018. Okay, so the bill, sorry, the bill is called Bill 148, and it's a plan for fair workplaces and better jobs. The information right there is where I got everything, and obviously it's all the Ontario Canada site. You can search a plan for fair workplaces and better jobs, Bill 148, and you can go to ontario.ca to find a lot of that information. Bill 148, labor law legislation in Ontario, is also, there's a video there that goes over everything in detail that Peel Halton created. So let's start with some of these changes. This is important. Get your pen out. As of January 1st, 2018, the general minimum wage has increased to $14 per hour from $11.60 per hour, okay, which is great. Now, other changes with that, student minimum wage has increased to $13.15 per hour. Liquor servers, your rates have increased too. You've gone up to $12.20 an hour. It used to be like $9.90 like in 2006. The general minimum wage will increase again on January 1st, 2019 to $15 per hour, right? But I want you to keep something in mind, and there's some videos online that talk about this. With these hikes in payment, it sounds really good, but understand if your payment is going up, that means employers have to hike their prices up because they have to pay you. So things are going to start being a little bit more expensive, regardless if you may think so or not. The price raise and increase is wonderful, but understand now you're going to be starting to see a little bit higher prices in our stores, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's talk health a little bit. Ontario now has OHIP Plus, meaning anyone under 25 gets prescription drugs for free. Are you guys hearing this? OHIP Plus, if you're under 25 years old, you now get prescription for free. Starting January 1st, 2018, more than 404,000 drug products are free for anyone age 24 years or younger. You don't need to enroll. All you need is your health card and an eligible prescription. So 25 and under, I wish. Your prescription is now free. Go on and check it out yourself. Do your research again, okay? Let's look at some labor rules. Equal pay for equal work. So this is something that's going to affect not just employers, but employees. And it's important that you do your research and understand that everyone's situation is a little bit different, okay? So the proposed legislation would ensure that casual, part-time, temporary, and seasonal employees are paid equally to full-time employees. So if you have people, there's a lot of people who come in sometimes from the islands or they do seasonal work. You are supposed to be given the same pay as someone who works there full-time or part-time, not less pay. So be aware of what's going on your pay stubs too, okay? Now, the proposed legislation would protect casual, part-time, temporary, and seasonal employees against repercussions for inquiring about their wage rate. So where before you might be a little bit nervous to ask someone about your wages, now you don't need to be nervous anymore. Ask questions. This is your money. Ask about it, okay? Now, if you were to get let go because of that, that's a whole nother situation. But I want you to just know you don't have to have that fear about asking about your wage, okay? Employees can no longer request a sick note from an employee. So if you're sick, an employer can't say, bring me a sick note anymore. That's gone. Once an employee has worked for a company for 5 years, they are entitled to 3 weeks of paid vacation. So a lot of you might now be doing some like number checking, like, how long have I been with them for? Yes, exactly. If you've been with someone for 5 years, you are entitled to 3 weeks. 3 weeks paid vacation. Employees, you can refuse shifts without repercussion if the employer gives less than 4 days notice. I think this is important for students to know because I think sometimes students' rights are not honored. You cannot get in trouble for turning down someone's shift. If an employer calls you, you can say no and not feel like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. Again, these are things that the government is going to be looking at. They want fair work advantages, okay? So, of course, the only thing that's kind of different from that would be the weather-dependent work. That's a little bit different because obviously if you're working outside and it rains, you can't work. So if they're going to cancel, they're going to cancel, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Personal emergency leave no longer only applies to workers at companies with 50 or more employees. All workers will get 10 days per year. 2 of them will be paid. Okay, so again, you get 10 days paid leave. 10 days per year off, only 2 of them paid though for personal leave, okay? Victims of domestic or sexual violence or parents of children who have experienced or are threatened with it will get 5 days of paid leave and 17 weeks of job protection after you leave. Like, I love some of the stuff they're doing here because there are some people suffering in our community and like you sometimes don't know what your rights are. So I really hope there are people listening to this. And if this affects someone you know, send this video to them, okay? Now, what I like about this is the government is going to be very hard on a lot of these companies. They're going to be fining people. So employers know this. The fines are going up from $250 $500 and $1,000 for violations to $350, $700, and $1,500 if you violate your employees' rights, okay? And the government, they're so gangster. The government also going to publish the name. So if you do something that violates a standard code, your name will be publicized. Your company will be publicized. You can already understand that that's going to affect your business. So employees, you got to be mindful. Now, the maximum fines under the Labor Relations Act will increase from $2,000 for individuals to $5,000 and up to $100,000. So employers and employees, you need to be very aware of what's happening with our laws here. Everyone, I hope I've given you some relevant information today. Have a wonderful Friday. Be safe, travel, take care of yourself. I'll see you next week in the Now.